Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Elias and welcome back to Age of Engineering. In the last episode, oh boy, in the last episode we were working on trying to go to the moon. And we made a rocket and we launched it. Unfortunately, I chickened out and the rocket is probably on the moon. But obviously we're not. So we're gonna have to fix that today. In order to do that, we're gonna need to build another rocket. Uh, so I already have a couple of things good to go. I went ahead and made the liquid fuel tanks and the engines. And all we need to do now is just build another rocket. We're going to need a seat as well as the guidance computer. That's the only other thing that we're going to need. And I think that's pretty much it. We are going to need another Planet ID chip as well, which 3 of these will give us that. So satellite with 2 will give us a Planet ID chip. So between episodes, I spent some time mostly AFKing, getting a bunch of ruby ore. And I managed to get 49 chrome. In the same amount of time, I also got 42 iridium. So we are pretty loaded on that. We're going to need to use this chrome actually right away because we need another machine structure, and we're going to go to the moon. Now, there's a couple of things that I want to try. I have up on here biome markers. So, something that I considered, I don't know how well this is going to work, I'll be honest, we'll see. But one of the big things that we're going to run into is we're going to need to get back to these places to get various resources, both the moon and all the other planets and whatnot. But what if we could, not actually go there and still get the resources? And that's where biomarkers come in. I noticed that there are biomarkers for, where is it? Space. There's one for the moon. And I had the idea, well, what if we could use the biomarker for the moon to get the moon resources, so like dilithium. Now, obviously, we need to go to other ones, and there's some other considerations that we're going to have later for other things. But for now, could we just make a biomarker, which I went ahead and made a machine frame, and use that for the moon, so we never have to go back to the moon. So we just need some wool to test this. So we just need some string. And that should be everything we need for the biome absorber. And then we should be able to make a biomarker if we grab some purple dye. And there we go. Cool. So last thing we're going to want to find and see, we still need the guidance computer, which is going to need 4 tracking circuits. I forgot about this part. We need redstone, eyes of ender. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the basic circuit stuff. We have basically infinite blaze rod, so I'm not too concerned about that one. Alright, so we have that. There was one other thing I wanted to see if I could acquire before we head off to the moon. Okay. Alright, we need to get a seat as well. That's the other thing. I think we have the circuit things. So we put those in there. And that will start working. Cool. So we also need a seat. I forgot about that. Let's get rid of all of this stuff. And the seat is just some wool. Yep. Alright, so right now, going to the moon is not that big of a deal. We need to just find some dilithium. I would like to have like a couple stacks of dilithium, but whatever we can manage to get should be enough. And we need to kind of consider making the next thing, which is the we need to get the what is it called? It is the space station. There we go. It's like satellite. It's satellite. No, it's the space station. We might try that. We need the space station so that we can make a warp core, so that we can basically teleport. We're going to end up teleporting to our space station, and then using the rocket to get down to the planet's surface. Now, eventually, we can get the dislocators, but that requires a teleportation core, which we can't make. Advanced dislocators is probably going to be what we're going to want basically as soon as we can, but we'll kind of play it by ear and decide how we want to go about things. But the dislocator is the way we can teleport fairly easily all around and wherever we want to go. We can't do that yet. We're going to have to rely on making the rocket and using the rocket to get to the moon and all that kind of fun stuff. So as soon as this is done, which got just one more to go, we'll work on that. But in the meantime, what we're going to end up using is matter transmitters and matter receivers, and these look awful. They require telepad blocks. I mean, we could use telepads. How bad are those? They're pretty awful. They're also fairly expensive. They need you need 9 of these, versus it looks like we'd only need 8 to just have. Well, we'd want 2 sets of them, but this is pretty awful. Not gonna lie, it's gonna require Endermans and a lot of nasty things. Teleportation is not going to be fun to do. So I'm really hoping that this moon trick works. Because what we can do with the biomarker is actually put it in here, and that will allow us to basically get what we want out of this and not have to worry about things. Hopefully. So this guy is still running. Oh, he has like no fuel, so he's not producing anything. Right, because I was AFK for a couple hours. Alright, so this is finally done. As you can see, I have a ton of rocket fuel here. I am not going to skimp on the rocket fuel. So I've had issues in the past with advanced rocketry getting stuck on planets. Now, typically, going to the moon isn't that bad. The moon has very little gravity, and so you don't really have to worry about all that kind of stuff. Let's take all that stuff off, put this stuff on. It looks like we still have what we want. We have our drill, and I do want to just go ahead and real quick charge up our battery. Alright, so yeah, I've had issues before where basically getting stuck on the moon, not the moon, a planet rather, and it was not fun. However, there's no reason to believe that that's going to happen this time, because, well, we can kind of deal with that. So guidance computer, let's see, can we scan this? Clear for liftoff. Plenty of fuel, plenty of thrust. We'll build that into a rocket, and now it's an entity. So we need to shift right click on this guidance computer. Let's get rid of all. How do I get rid of? I want to get rid of the items. Oh well. So we can shift right click no. Alright, there we go. We have the Luna, select. How do I do this again? I really wish I could see. Let's see. Search options. Item hiding mode. Is that what I want? No. Okay, this is weird. I don't remember. I don't know why that button's not working. Usually O like gets rid of all this stuff. Real quick, I need to see controls. Inventory. Just enough items. Toggle item list overlay. There we go. Alright, so now I can see. We will throw a thing in there. And I keep going through the actual rocket. So, planet ID chip. There we go. So, here is the issue. Now we have to plan. So this guy has, if we set on here, he has no fuel. Not going to go anywhere. We can right click the rocket. I don't think it matters which one we click, but we can just dump in all of this rocket fuel if we so choose. And that'll continue making more rocket fuel. This thing is looks like it's mostly full. And let's see, we have we're gonna need, so we have two. All right, we have some blocks. Let's grab some glowstone. I don't think there's going to be any mobs. I will be honest, I don't believe mobs spawn necessarily. But there is the chance. And so what we need to do is just come prepared. Let's bring some glowstone so we can have light. Alright, so we're going to have a rocket. We have extra rocket fuel, which we just right click on the rockets and we can send them back. We have O2, our tanks are full. We can verify that just by standing on the charge pad. And this is not using anything at all, so we're full up on everything. So I think we should be good to go. So this time, let's actually do it. And let's take off. So I'm not going to click anything this time. This might take a little bit of time just to get to the moon. And you know, we're going to search for what we need. So at the moon, what we're looking for is dilithium. It's also going to be a lot harder to get off of this planet than it is going to be to get off of the moon. So fuel should not be an issue. I do plan on we're going to try to send both rockets back. We can then scavenge them as needed. But so long as we should be in space-ish now, we should be using next to no fuel. We should have plenty of velocity. Escape velocity is a thing, and I am familiar with the physics of like rocket physics and whatnot. And one of the big things with it is just kind of this mod is actually fairly realistic. By which I mean advanced rocketry is actually fairly realistic in how you kind of deal with the planets. The planets have different sizes and whatnot, and the only thing it really affects is how much like velocity you have to get to escape the gravity. I've had the problem with larger planets. I got stranded in one of the other series that I've done. One of the few series I've actually done advanced rocketry in. I got stranded on a planet because it was a lot bigger than what I expected, and so the rocket wasn't actually strong enough to get off of the planet. And that's one of those considerations that you kind of have to plan. The moon is not difficult to deal with. Also on the moon, which is kind of nice to point out, there are a ton of moon bees, aka wintry bees. So we're gonna land. All right, so let's right-click this guy, and we're gonna disassemble you, and we're gonna break this rocket completely. So the important thing to have, by the way, is we have a planet ID chip that is Earth. So let's see, we have 8 engines, 2, okay, I think that is fine. Let's go ahead and put a waypoint here for our rocket, and we'll save that. And let's head on down and start searching for what we're here for. So yeah, as I said, there's a bunch of moon bees, aka I think they're all the wintry hives. The moon is very cold, so that's why we have plenty of O2, and there's not going to be much. The minimap is really broken. That happens with dimension changing and whatnot. But there's the Earth. You can see all the stuff in the sky. So what we need to do is we just need to mine down and start searching for dilithium. So that is the sole reason we're here. Now, what is dilithium? Dilithium is where is it found? It's best at like Y level 10, but it can be found pretty much anywhere. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna come right down here, and we're gonna dig straight down. There shouldn't be any lava or anything like that. I don't anticipate. We have a magnet because blocks just fly everywhere. So let's go ahead and dig down. Now there are actual ores here as well. And before we forget, let's go ahead and take our biomarker, and we're gonna just right click it. And now we have a biomarker for the moon, which is what we wanted. So yeah, we just need to dig down, and eventually we'll find, hey, dilithium. So there is the dilithium. Is fairly large, like veins of it. Let's light some stuff up just so you guys can see. Where are we at? Y40. So yeah, there's plenty of ores here. Let's try to grab the ores themselves. I probably should have brought my backpack, but it's okay. We'll live. So we need to go down to like, that's basalt. We need to go down to like Y equals 10. And I want the ores. So there's that. Do we have lead? Yes. Okay. So I believe, yeah, Y equals 10 is like the best. Can I have that redstone? Perfect. And evidently there is lava. Alright, so let's put that there. Alright, so we can just mine on here, and hopefully let's put this there just so I can see. We can find some more dilithium. And I'd like to grab a little bit more before we head home. We also have diamonds. Wow. Cool. I won't say no to diamonds whatsoever. So yeah, it's basically just go mining. Now I want to show off torches do not work. Torches immediately get extinguished because we're on the moon. There's no atmosphere here. There's no oxygen, no nothing. So hopefully we can find there's another vein of dilithium. And what are we up to? We're at like 33. Now, here is the question. How many are we going to get from this? So we get like 1, 2 from the crusher, which we can then use. I think we'll need to make that. And then crystallizers. So we can double it. That's it. Alright, that's good to know. So let's just go a little bit farther. Here's another little bit of a vein. And I'm not too worried about most of the like resources here. So we got about a stack. That's going to be good enough for now. Just because, well, I don't really have the inventory space to do anything else. We're going to leave all this stuff here. Now let's just climb up here and head back home, because I want to test out the biomarker. If the biomarker works the way I think it might, which is to say that the biome is good enough to give us the ore generation, then that's going to be really nice, and we can just go from there. We can just kind of forget about having to come back to the moon ever. Otherwise, we might want to look into making a little bit of a temporary base, so we can easily get back here. So let's just fill up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, and if we shift right click, I don't think we need multiple chips, but it's going to make things easier to be able to just swap them out. And now we can head back home. So this is going to be a much easier way back because, well, escape velocity is a lot easier. So we're going to head back and we'll see what we can find out about this biomarker. We'll see what we get. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. If it doesn't work, we'll look into options. Otherwise, we'll hope that it works. So yeah, apologies, I need to take a drink. So one of the big things is if it does work, that is going to be great for us for now. But we might want to look into another one later to experiment with, because I don't know if so. Once we can start doing interdimensional, not even intergalactic travel, i.e. like going to other planets, other than just the moon. In order to do that, we're going to need to get a space station that that has a warp core and all that kind of stuff. I didn't consider that. We're not going to actually go to the mining dimension. I love the way that it like renders like a map. So where at? Okay, we are like right next to our base, so that's fine. So okay, that's okay. We're stuck in a tree. We'll live with that. So Yeah, we have to go back to our other dimension, the mining dimension, and maybe matter transmitters might not be a bad idea regardless, just so we can easily get to our space station. So let's dump our inventory. Let's do that first, and then we'll move on from there. So one of the big things that we're going to run into the problem of is we need to go to a bunch of different planets, presumably. There's a chance that we don't, but we'll see. So let's just get rid of all this stuff. We don't need any of this. And let's get our good armor back on so we can run around all fast like. Alright, so we'll put this stuff away. We're not going to go to space again today. We're going to save that for probably next time. Let's go ahead and start crushing up the dilithium ore. Is this useful for being itself at all? Nope. Okay. So if we take a look at the guide, we're at the space age, so first destination is the moon, where you can get dilithium. Dilithium is mainly used as fuel for the warp cores of the space station. Space station with a warp core is needed to travel from one planet to another, to other planets, and how to make it, all that kind of stuff. And then we're going to need to go to a bunch of different other planets. Now there is 2 moons, it says, that are useful for titanium. So let's look at all the world gen stuff. We have cadmium is found on Neptune. That's one we're gonna need. What is? I guess that's considering. That's odd. Alright, so Neptune is one we're going to have to go to for cadmium. I don't know how much cadmium we're actually going to need. We'll kind of find out as we go forward. What is that? Treasure chest. Oh, cool. So what else do we have? Overworld Nether. Mercury has mercury ore. Again, I don't know how much we're going to need that. Mars has zirconium. And I had thought before that there was another option for getting different ores. Maybe we'll have to look into that. Maybe there's something we can do. There is a block that will tell us basically what the different planets have. We can basically, it's a scanner, which we can use. But Tantalum is on Eris, which is not really a planet. Isn't it Pluto's moon? I think. I don't know. So, okay. Let's take a look at titanium. Because if it was saying we could get titanium from planets, I don't know about that. So I guess let's look up ore. So mercury ore is going to give us powdered mercury, which can give us liquid mercury, mercury buckets. I don't know if that's useful. Mithril blend, mithril ingots. Yeah, I don't know if that's useful. Wow, that gives you a lot. No, it gives you very little. Oh, okay. So we're gonna need mercury for the electrolytic separator, which we'll need in order to make a bunch of stuff. Okay. So what other ores? Cadmium is gonna give us cadmium, which is used for energy tablets. Tantalum is for, I think I know this one. Control circuits, advanced control circuits, and zirconium is used in making, with chrome and steel, making stainless steel, which is the building block of the metallurgic infuser, and I feel like it's used for some other stuff. Yeah, for the steel casings, we need stainless steel and titanium. So, lots of things to kind of be considered. Now, the dilithium, what we need to do with it, some of it we'll keep whatever we make left for now. For the space station assembler, but the rest of it we're going to put in here. So input hatch, to make sure this is, no, it's on, and we make dilithium crystals. So here is the test. Let's see if this is going to work or not. If we put in here the biomarker for the moon and start running that, we're going to get crystal chasms. We'll see if we get any cool ore. We got some draconium ore. That's kind of neat. We'll see what kind of ores we get, if we get anything good. Oops. If we get anything like dilithium or whatever. I don't know. Like, I don't know how the terrain generation is actually going to work. But what we'll probably want is to get matter receiver and transmitters, and then use a matter booster to teleport. Use matter booster adjacent to this block to be able to teleport to unpowered receivers. That would be really nice. But we're going to have to make 2 of these things, and that's pretty awful. So, okay. I will see if I can get anything out of this. I need to, like, get through all the stone and whatnot. Put a trash can and whatnot to it. But, how bad is this going to be? So, we're going to need Do the Void, which is pretty awful. Requires the vat, which I do believe we have. Somewhere. Yeah, right there. We have the vat. We can make Do the Void. It's just terrible. We're going to need a staff of traveling and a staff of return. Which, yeah, this is all really, really nasty stuff. So the question is, do we want to make them or not? How do we want to deal with this? So we're going to want to go to the space station. So that's kind of the next thing. If we grab our backpack, we can see right here that the next thing we're going to need to make is the warp core. And the warp core requires 15 titanium blocks, 4 machine structures for gold blocks, and an input hatch, and then the actual warp core itself, which is actually not awful. So we're going to need a lot of titanium. We don't have that much. I've been processing. I processed a bunch of bauxite and processed a good bit of it. Okay, I processed a little bit of it. And eventually we'll be able to do something with all this titanium. I mean, that's 4 more. Yeah, it's going to require a lot of titanium to do this. So we're probably going to want to go with the matter receiver, matter transmitter. It's just going to be kind of awful to deal with. So I've got a lot of work to do between now and then. So if we want to step up production, we're gonna have to go through a bunch of Ender IO stuff. What all is like really bad? So the telepad blocks requires a bunch of dark steel, travel anchors, which are not that bad. Octacapacitors aren't that bad. Other than capacitors being bad, fused quartz is easy enough. It's just nether quartz. We need a few Enderman souls, like 8 to begin with. Actually more, because we're gonna want 2 sets of these. Now I wonder if we make one, we're gonna see if we can duplicate it with this over here. I might actually look through the config files and see if I can find out what all is able to be pattern storage, because that would be really nice to know. So we need 2 machine frames. That's easy enough. And then we're going to need a teleporter. Most of this stuff is not that bad, other than we're going to need 4 advanced circuits, advanced machine block. A lot of it is stuff that more than anything, I need to set up automation to do. But eventually, we'll get around to that. So, I think the plan is going to be, we're going to go ahead and end the episode off here. Next time, we're going to work towards the matter receiver and the matter transmitter, as well as the dialing device. We'll also need that. And work towards making a space station. So we're going to need, space station containers, space station ID chips, and all that fun stuff. It's going to be a lot of stuff that we're going to need. But we'll get there. And it'll be great. We'll have everything we need. And it'll just be a matter of going to the different planets. If we can make these matter transmitters, matter receivers relatively easy, then we will make enough for one of each of all the planets so that we can easily go there. And then we can go from there. So that should allow us to get into Mechanism and set up all that. So a lot of work to do, but I think in the next episode we're gonna work towards these 2 things: the matter receiver, matter transmitter, and the warp core and the space station, all that fun stuff. But I think more than anything, we're gonna also start to try to clean up the base a little bit. One of the biggest things I need to do is expand applied energistics so that we can start. Which, by the way, our mailbox is getting pretty full. Ooh, that's really nice. We need to expand applied energistics and auto crafting and all that fun stuff. So lots of stuff to do. We'll just kind of work on whatever we can get around to and go from there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!